I really question the idea of having your crap together, and I want to explain exactly what I'm talking about in this video. So, the idea behind a lot of what we actually teach in business school is having your act together. It's having all of your crap and ducks in a row and making sure that you do everything and making sure that people understand what you are going to do and working with the various different people within a group. That's called a stakeholder analysis. It's also talking about strategy or decision making. We have to have all of our stuff put together before we do anything. But I am beginning to believe, my own belief is that we don't need any of our crap together. I think that all of that is a bit of a misnomer because it's a part of how we actually select data or what we actually look at in terms of the recommendations that we actually get. If you were to take a sample, a random sample of people, and whether they were doing interesting stuff, they would almost always say that they are not doing those interesting things because they're afraid of actually doing those things. I mean, if you ask anybody, are they pursuing their passion or whatever that thing is? Some people will be playing musical instruments at night. Some people might be singing, but the vast majority of the people are actually really scared to do any of these things. Many people are really scared to sit down and think about whether they're going to create a business. Many people are, if I ask them, can you do sales? Right? This is kind of an experiment that I like to do in the classroom is, that sort of classic thing. Here's a couple of pens, go see if you can sell it. And almost everybody declines to do that. Almost everybody declines to do something very simple like this, right? Like talking to you in a screen and having people look at me like I'm crazy as they're driving around, right? Like there's all these kind of things. If you were to look at it and think about it in terms of whether having your act together, having your crap together, any of that kind of stuff actually matters, I would suggest it probably doesn't. I would suggest it's actually the act of doing something, getting out there and trying and pursuing something, even though other people are looking at you like you are crazy and going through the action of doing it. That's the thing that actually matters. It's not having your crap together and making sure that you're doing the right decisions and thinking through everything and making sure that you are labeling yourself and using the right kind of models and everything that you'd ever imagine. That stuff never works, right? It never works. In practice, it never works. And, if I was to ask people, how many of the people use the analysis that I talk about in my class that is sort of conventional? There's all sorts of kinds of decision-making analysis, and nobody does that, right? What we do is we act, we behave, we go and do things, we actually try. And the people that try and do things and bumble along, they figure it out. Right? You don't need to have your act together. You don't need to have a certain kind of strategy or a decision-making framework in any sort of way. We kind of bumble through it. We learn, we figure it out as we go. And the only sort of determinant behind that is figuring it out as we go. And that as we go is the thing that's important. We actually need to start doing the behavior. We need to actually get out there and try to do those particular things. If you think about anything that is difficult, quitting smoking, learning how to drive, learning how to ride a bike, learning how to invest, you have to do this all the time. You have to get into the motions of actually doing this. I invest, for example, on a regular basis. Every single paycheck I have a certain portion of my paycheck, 15% or more, goes off and disappears into investments. Now, if I didn't do that for 20 years or X number of years, I wouldn't have anything to play with. There's no amount of investments that's going to be sitting there, and it doesn't matter what the strategy is. Who cares at that point in terms of your investment strategy or your decision-making framework or who you're talking to in terms of making the best investment? Like all of that kind of, who cares? Right? Because it doesn't exist at that moment. The only time that actually exists and something turns into something is when you actually do it. You actually try to go through it. So it's like, if you keep talking about, I'm going to quit smoking, and you never do anything about it, well, that's just cheap talk. You actually have to go through the motions and feel the pain and go through all of it where you're like, man, this really sucks. And then you figure out, okay, what are the triggers that make this really suck for me? How do I make sure that I minimize those particular triggers of making it suck in my life? Right? I think we get messed up and we think that we have to have everything all laid out perfect, and making sure that we just have our crap together. And the reality is nobody has their crap together. Nobody, not a single person. The only people that actually have their crap together are the ones that actually start doing things, and it's all messy and it's stupid and it looks ridiculous, and they get up there and do it anyways. Right? Like, think about learning how to become an actor or an actress. Right? When you get up and you actually speak in front of everybody, man, it is nerve-wracking. You don't know anything. You look stupid, and yeah, you make a lot of mistakes. But it's the fact that you're getting up and you're trying it over and over and over again. That's where you actually learn things. That's the only predictor that I know of that actually is pretty concrete. In all of the stuff that I look at, it's only just that experience, that trying, the repetition, doing things over. That's the strongest predictor we have of looking to see whether anything actually improves over time. Whether you figure out, if you're starting a business, what your strategy is. And you don't know what your strategy is. The only time you're going to figure it out is once you've done the same thing for 1,500 times. And then once you've done it for 1,500 times, you have a mild understanding of what the heck this thing is. And then once you've done it for 10,000 times, then you have a bit of an inkling of what your strategy and what you're going to do going forward. Like, just quit with the nonsense. Just start doing, start trying, stop forgetting, or stop making yourself feel bad about all of the moments of you not having it all together. You're not in the right position. Just get out there and try. Wouldn't it be awesome if you just did that and you just tried no matter what? That's what you gotta do. And I think that's the only thing that really matters. That's when you have your shit together, your crap together, pardon me, when you actually have tried so many times that you've actually bumbled through things and figured it out yourself. All right, take care and have a wonderful day.